Diddly doo 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 doo. Diddly doo doo doo. Diddly doo doo doo. Diddly doo doo doo. Boop 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 doo doo. Diddly doo doo doo. Ah, what's up, internet? What's going on? Was scooted over to the side too far. There we go. What's up, everybody? It is Friday. How you doing? Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Yeah, more coughing and clearing of my throat. It's awesome for a Friday. It's always good, right? It's always good. Makes a good show when somebody tunes in to listen to the sounds of a dude coughing. Well, I think as long as it's a middle-aged, weird-looking dude, then that's good. Or something, right? What's up? It is good to see you all. Sorry about the coughing. I'm going to say sorry about that right here out the gate and try not to talk about it too much. But, yeah. Still coughing. And thank you to the people that are well-wishing my well-being on Discord and whatnot. We have a late show today. I normally do the show earlier on a Friday, but too many doctor's appointments, and we'll leave it at that. I should be okay. We shall see over the next week. I'll be switching medication, and I'll keep you posted. Yes, it is all associated with something to do with this lung stuff, and I certainly don't want to say whether or not it has anything to do with the crazy pandemic that's going on or not, because I've tested negative. Hopefully next, what do you call it? Next couple of weeks or something like that, they're apparently maybe going to have an antibody test that is accurate, blah, 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 kind of thing. So hopefully I'm up on the front of that list. So we shall see if it has anything to do with that. But as is, I went through the pneumonia treatment again, and we shall be trying out some other drugs and seeing what happens for therapy to see what happens. But on a very, very much sadder note than my my personal health problems, as was explained to me via Facebook earlier today, Nathan from Sand Creek Aquatics passed away this morning. I have no other details other than that. That's what I was told, and that really is sad. And I don't want to say it, but I guess I have to say thoughts and prayers, I guess. It always feels disingenuous to say that, but it is really sad to see anybody pass away, let alone somebody who's so cool from the YouTube community that was just like a fun guy, you know. So will be missed, and I'm very sad to let anybody out there know that hasn't known. Like I said, I have no details. I'm not associated with it in that way. I just wanted to pass it on and let you guys know that that's a really sad thing that's going on, and I wish I had some good news. Maybe somebody out there has some good news to kind of pass it on. As far as my situation goes, it is not better, so it's all good. I'm not 100% sure why. What happened with Sand Creek, I don't know. As far as my stuff goes, I still don't know really either, so we'll see. But that's a real drag. It was always nice to see him in the chat, and yeah, it really, hits close to home, when YouTube people's disappearing, and that sucks. But I guess Donald's Fish Vibe says, my condolences. That's probably a better way for me to put it. Thoughts and prayers doesn't make any sense, but my condolences to the family and friends, everybody out there that really sad. So, but I see Bentley in the chat, Big D, Smoke, Ian Atkins, Janice Lundberg, for sure. Janice was first to the chat today. I could see her right behind the top of my little chat thing that's weird. It's covering up the very first comment, but I know it was Janice. So what's up? Recap Harris was numero dos, and Alyssa Bentley coming in third, but quickly followed by Frank Dominguez. So that's good. I like to see that Frank Dominguez getting closer back to his long-standing first place, for many, many years. Anyhow, so bad news, weird news out the beginning. That's just a real drag, but it is what it is, and so we gotta move on with a Friday show. Bear with me, as I mentioned earlier, my health isn't that fantastic right now, so I'm pretty exhausted. My eyes feel like I've got sand in my eyes. I want to take a nap. This is me on the verge of taking a nap, you guys. So if I do just fall asleep like halfway through the show, if somebody could just like swing by and not come in here because of the pandemic, but maybe like ring the doorbell or something. Don't touch the doorbell either. Never mind. If I fall asleep, just wait for me to wake up. I guess that's probably the best thing to do. Mickey M says, candle now burning for him in Stockholm. Great to see you, Joel. Always needed. Oh, well, I'm not always needed, but you know how it is. Scott's Aquatic, what's up, my guy? And I'll try to say hi to everybody, but you know how it is. It starts to get busy in here, and then I get lost. But Joel G out of New Zealand with a $2 super chat. What's up, Internet? And I got to read this correctly. Cha-cha. Cha-cha-cha. I think I got that right. Cha-cha-cha-cha. Could be correct. Could be wrong. Anyhow, Mary Page says, I hope you were feeling better. Sorry you feel so bad. I don't feel that bad. I feel like crummy and tired. So that's where I'm at right now. I just feel like I could totally take a nap. That's the down part. Any of the other discomfort I'm feeling isn't really that bad, but I'm just like, whoa, hello? Yeah, so a little bit odd, but as you guys know, today is the Friday show, so let's jump into what we do on Fridays, which is Patreon posts. Our very beginning of the show here is the Patreon post, which reminds me, I better update our patronizers here real quick. It's gone from 242 to 238, which is, it is what it is. What are we going to do? That's what is happening in the year of the COVID. That is pretty much what's happening. I went and looked at Patreon the other day and the percentage drops, and I don't want to tell you what they are because it's significant. Actually, I do want to tell you what it is. It's 43%. That's almost 50% drop, but it is what it is. We're just out here doing the thing. Just doing the thing. Just doing what we can and being engaged with the people that we can. Now, this post is from James R. Thank you very much, James, for supporting and throwing up a post that we could look at. We've got a 65-gallon, a 5-gallon beta plant grow-out tank, his daughter's 10-gallon tank, and a 3.5-gallon beta and a 6.5-gallon shrimp tank. So first, I would say we got to look at this shrimp tank. And I would say this is pretty much one of the two directions I would say most people should probably go with some kind of shrimp tank. Now, I think dwarf hairgrass, some Java fern, something like that is probably a really good way to go with a shrimp tank personally. And a big reason for that, it gives you a lot of hidey spaces, but it also gives you a lot of surface area that's going to allow for a lot of biofilm and infusoria and little tiny crittery things that we don't see with our eyeballs because we humans, we can't see that small, that would end up feeding our little tiny shrimps. You know what I'm saying? We want our little tiny shrimps to have all that little tiny stuff to feed on. And I think the dwarf hairgrass is probably, you don't really have to mess with it too much. You don't have to do too much maintenance to it and whatnot. And it actually is easy to vacuum out the dwarf hairgrass if you do have something like a python, some kind of siphon cleaner. I had one a while ago. I made one out of a 1 liter bottle and a hose for a thing. And I thought, man, I should probably film this because this is kind of a goofy thing. And then I remembered that like Oliver Knott posts videos about that all the time. And I was like, I don't want to have those conversations. with the people that'd be like, "That's Oliver's thing," and I'd be like, "Yeah, you're right." Yeah. So, but I do have a Python attachment now. I got one a while ago off of a broken one that somebody was getting rid of at like a garage sale, I think, or something like that. So, I'll be showing that to you guys at some point, how I'm dealing with the water change water, because I'm doing it a different way now, and I think it might be interesting to you guys, but I'm trying to recycle it back into a system that is kind of dumb. Whew. Now, here's that beta fish tank, which I got to admit, this is not a great picture, but I can tell even with it not being that, it's not like an epic picture, you know. Sometimes we got to get those action shots that maybe aren't as good as we'd hoped. But I could tell that this is a really cool beta, and I appreciate it. And it's making me think maybe I should get some betas here sometime soon. But I don't want to be doing it for the gram. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have some beta setups ahead of time. Like, I don't want to be one of those people that's accidentally falling into the hole of getting stuff because I want to make a video about it. You got to watch out for that. You know, I think maybe not everybody out there, but I feel like I personally got to watch out for the, like, oh, maybe I should get a thing because then I can make a video about it. You know, I already do that with plants. So I think I've got that handled. So I'm going to wait until I have a really good setup opportunity for some special betas, whenever that will be. I don't know when, but someday. Here's that little cylindrical tank, which, by the way, this looks a little too clean to me. I feel like this was deep cleaned right before the picture, or it was like recently planted, because we got some little fine hair roots down here, which give me the impression that either this was just trimmed and cleaned and replanted or something, and it's got my spidey sense going off. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We'll see. Let's scroll up to the next one. Now, I'm going to take a guess here. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go way out on a limb and say I think that this is his daughter's tank. I'm 50-50, but I'm going to guess that this is his daughter's tank. Now, I think we got some pretty custom pieces in here that we should definitely make sure to make note of. This looks to be down here like some kind of unicorn type character rearing up on its hind legs and just pretty much just going for the gusto, which I can appreciate that. I like motion in my art. That's always good. We have clearly a homestead of sorts back here for some kind of I think maybe like overly important kind of person. Now, some of you might think that that might be the mermaid's home, but we know from mythology that mermaids don't live in castles. We know that. And we know that they don't live in traditional abodes. So if I had to guess, I would wager that this was like some hoity-toity rabbit snail's castle situation. Would be my guess if I had to guess, just because of the sort of upturned, snooty nature of rabbit snails. And of course, we have a rainbow pleco cave here that has apparently been chewed on by some kind of animal, thusly creating some extra holes in it, which means that it probably has been passed down to the daughter from the years and years of plecos living in it, thusly eroding holes in the sides of it and it having to be moved and relocated to this tank. Overall, I enjoy it, and I have that big sigh in there because I bet that's probably what Olivia's tank is going to end up looking like, because even if I'm going to want to do what I want to do in her tank, even if I'm going to do what I want to do in her tank, she's probably going to be like, I need rainbow castles and unicorns and stuff. You know what I mean? So, and I'm literally going to be like, okay, hon, we will do the SpongeBob and the pineapple under the sea. You know, we'll do all that stuff because, you know, I'm an adult and I wouldn't want to, you know, force my daughter to have some kind of thing be not what I want. We have a voice message coming into the show here. We got to check it out here real quick. Okay, let's see. Let's check it out one more time. Okay, I think can we get it correctly here? Okay. I think I got it correctly there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the voicemail, Gillett. Gillot. I don't know. Gillette. I don't know. I don't know how to say his name. Joel. That's how you say his name. It's legit. All right. Let me. Oops. I gotta close my voicemail. There we go. But yeah, we got voicemails coming in from New Zealand. You got to watch out. Sometimes we get those sent in, and we have to throw them in there. This looks like a new tank setup. There's clearly a lot of new tank setup / grow out plant thing situation going on here. This is new clumps planted. The tops are trimmed off here. I mean, come on. This is pretty much what you want your grow out tank to look like. Now, don't fall into the syndrome that I've fallen into with a grow out tank / plant tank that you're just keeping plants in, and the next thing you know, it starts to grow like crazy, and then you're like, well, I better scape this thing and make it look nice, and maybe I gotta stick some rocks and some driftwood in there and some other things, and blah 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 blah. And next thing you know, you've got to go buy another grow out tank, so then you got to get onto Craigslist, and nowadays, because of the pandemic, it's like you're running a risk going places to get new tanks for your grow outs and stuff. So watch out for that, because it might happen to you, happen to me, and then I got super sad, But I didn't catch the COVID, if that's what that sounded like. I did not catch the COVID that I know of. I don't know. Who knows what I got? I'm just sick. It's fine. Then here's the last tank, which I feel like this piece of wood needs like a turn a little bit. But this is a great tank, and, we got a little mature algae growing on the side here. That's good. Front glass, clean, nice, and plants are doing fine. And all plants are doing great in there. Eventually this thing is going to be grown in, and it's going to be jungled out, and we're all going to be like, oh, look at all those colors. I'm freaking out. Absolute Aquatics, which, if you guys know, is a new YouTuber to the YouTube scene. Spin over to the Patreon page to grab this link right here, and it'll take you right over to his newest YouTube video, which he is stress testing a very simple DIY sump. So far, no leaks over the over to the equipment chamber. I made a video on making it and posted it up today if you feel like watching it. If not, that's cool too. You know what? That's not cool. You should feel like watching it and then watch it. That's just something that you should do. You shouldn't feel like not watching it. But I have not watched it yet. I started to watch it. It's on my queue over here, and I will be checking it out. And I hope you guys too. You guys do too, because it has 6 views. So I mean, literally, if a few other people head over there, it'll double his views. So think of that. You could be somebody who's watching, let me see. Let me go over to my homepage on the YouTube. Where is it? There it is. There's my YouTube tab. Let's go over to the homepage. It's got me on it, which is dumb. Don't watch that. That's a waste of time. The Walking Dead something. Why is that there? James Matthews video. Yeah, we don't want to watch James. I mean, we could watch James Matthews video later, because it's about a, what? That is dumb. It's like made his own gimbal shake weight looking thing. He's got stuck a camera to the top of it. I don't know. Maybe that's interesting. Who knows? Yeah. Look at all these videos. We don't want to watch any of these videos. We got an Aqua Design Amano video here. This is all just nonsense. Tell you what, instead of listening to me talk about that, why don't you go over to Absolute Aquatics and give his video a check out, and then maybe you'll learn something about building your own sump. Because I figure if you're all watching this channel, it probably means that you may or may not have accidentally watched a video about me talking about sumps. The chances are high. The percentages of people that go, "Hey, that's the sump guy," to me. I don't make this. I'm not a manufacturer of sumps or anything like that. But people are like, "Hey man, that's the sump guy." I'm like, "Oh yeah, hey, what's up, dude? What are you doing?" Oh crap! Hey, we got something going on here during the show. So we need to update our YouTube members because we got a brand new YouTube member. So we actually have to go like this because I didn't update it because it went down. And then let's refresh this. Oh, there we go. Oh no, it actually was this. So let's go. We got to go to 94, and that gone down. We lost a few members, but Brian Schiller coming in, brand new membership, very much appreciate it. And then now we can go like this, 95. Then we can go back up to 95. There we go. So we went down to cover the downward motion of the YouTube memberships, but then we get to go back up. So we're still down one, but hey, it feels good. It feels good when you be able to be like, memberships lift you up where we belong. 95. It's 95. YouTube memberships. Oh. You know? And then people are singing on a live stream like an idiot. I mean, me. That's what I mean. There's too much crap on my desk right now, and it's making me distracted. I'm sorry. Anyhow, thanks, Brian, and thank you to Michael Faulkner. He's new also, but he's old school. Michael Faulkner is he's new to the memberships, but he's old school to the channel. So, word up. And Dan Squires fixed his thing, so that's really cool. And it seems to me that Janice, hers is working too. So, there we go. Or maybe it's not now. Now it's back to not working again. What the hell? It's like Janice is a member, but for whatever reason, it's not showing up anymore as a member anymore. But it was earlier, so who knows? It makes no sense to me. Because I could literally scroll up here and see Janice up there. Oh, you have 2 different accounts. That's why. It looks like. I don't know. Maybe there's multiple Janice Lundbergs that watch this channel. It's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible. That's for sure. Tales from the Man Cave. By the way, where this comes from, and I got to admit, I love this picture. This is just phenomenal. It's pretty clear that had I been able to make it to Inner Zoo, the big convention, the big fish tank convention this year, I think we would have had a lot of fun. And it looks like we're going to have to wait until next year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it next year. If the world continues to be crumbling like the way that it is, I don't know if I'll be able to afford. Maybe I don't know if I'll be able to afford to go next year. So who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what shakes out. But I don't know. Let's be realistic here. I remember they were asking me a while ago because I was talking about how important the memberships and Patreon are and stuff like that. So I uploaded 3 short videos this week. And so let's see. So here's one video I uploaded. It's got -2 subscribers. And the estimated revenue is $1.76. So, yeah, I don't know, man. The reality is that's not going to buy a plane ticket to go to it's not going to cover the plane ticket to Germany to be able to go to Inner Zoo. So, I don't know. I'm wondering if I'll be able to go next year, but who knows. Yeah. So, it is important that people do that and so it's all good. But either way, the whole reason I was trying to tell that story was because I legit thought that Tales from the Man Cave and I would have had a good time doing Escape Off and filming some stuff and doing everything. And the next post here from Tales from the Man Cave proved that I would probably end up coming back here and feel bad about me not putting together even as good a video as clearly he puts together, because the one up there is dynamite. Now, there's 2 different channels here that have posted onto the Patreon. Absolute Aquatics, which is sort of my ability level, right? And then Tales from the Man Cave up here is making these like professional quality videos. So, there's that. So I'm like, you've been doing this for a long, long time. And then Tales from the Man Cave shows up and makes, let me see, it's my first aquascaping related video over on the YouTubes. And it's like, clearly, dude works in video production or something because, yep, it's pretty damn good. And I think it's pretty clear from this picture right here that he knows how to use a camera. So soon I have more plants over than under the water. The Hygrophila pinnatophyta is trying to grow into the twin star light, and the Pogostemon erectus in the back is slowly becoming a Christmas tree, which I agree. And this is one of the things that I hate about Pogostemon erectus. Sometimes it does this weird side shoot thing, and I don't like it when it does that. So I really hope that I can figure out someday how to discourage that and have it just grow as one singular, because sometimes I can and sometimes I don't. I don't know what it is that's changing it to make it do that or not do that. I don't know. Someday I'm going to figure it out. Someday I'm going to figure it out, and then I can be like, oh man, that's what's up with the Pogostemon erectus sending out side shoots, and I don't know why right now. So I'll admit that to you guys, so you know. So you know that I said it, because I did. It was a real thing that I said just now on the show. And he says, and now I have to apologize in advance for the shameless plug of my first aquascaping-related video on the tubes. It is a small, relaxing video showing the setup of the above Iwagumi layout. Any love you can give it will be most appreciated. I have to admit, like I said earlier, it's clearly better videos than mine. So you're off to a good start, and that's all good. So, you know, keep it up. Keep up the good work, man, because I would like to be able to watch some of your future videos. And also, Absolute Aquatics, keep it up too, because I like your videos too. And I scrolled up to the top. I scrolled up too high. There we go. All right, well, that's our Patreon posts of the week. No real questions or anything like that, but shout out to all the homies out there posting things on the Patreon, because it's fun, and it's fun to have a community that we can post onto. You know? I like it. We also have the Discord where people post into, but I don't know if I have anything to share. Let me see. Video, nope, I don't have anything in there. Art subjects, live stream, and nobody posted anything into the live stream. It's just all conversations and stuff. So we're going to leave those over on the Discord. If you want to become a member on the Discord, you just do either the Patreon or become a YouTube member, and then you get the link and blah, blah, blah. If you become a member on YouTube, you have to go to my community page, and once you have member credentials, you can scroll down until you find the Discord post. There's a post. You have to scroll down. It's by date, so you have to scroll down chronologically. Donald's Fish Vibe says, Joel has a really nice way of describing not so good circumstances. Well, you know. I do what I can, you know. I just try to do my best, you know, and we'll just continue moving on. Let's scroll back up and see what we got for some questions for today, because we can bust in real quick to see what we got. If I can scroll through here. Ants France is asking, what tips do you have on keeping crystal red shrimp with fish? The tips? Keep them with fish that won't foul the water. Keep them with fish that won't eat your shrimp babies, which is a pretty short list. Like right now I have super red bristlenose plecos with my crystal reds. Is that perfectly the best idea in the world? It might not even be the most optimal situation to have fish with them, but I feel like they're not eating a lot of the babies, you know what I mean? So, you know. Plus I can feed the bristlenose pretty easy, pretty readily. and then works pretty well. Small Fry Aquatics is asking, how much additional lift does a Patreon account take on your part? I don't know what that... I'm confused by what that sentence is. How much additional lift does a Patreon account take on your part? I don't know what that means. I'm very confused by that, but let's... I guess your next comment was restaurants are open, stores are open. I haven't found anything that isn't open, and masks are completely optional. Where you at? I'm in West Cleveland. Masks pretty much everywhere are optional. I would recommend everybody to wear a mask, mainly because there's a lot of asymptomatic carriers of the coronavirus, and wearing a mask isn't that big of a deal. I mean, somebody got mad at me on Facebook that they were like, I'm not going to wear a mask. And I would say the shut it down commentary that I had was, if I can wear a mask at work in a kitchen for 12 hours a day, and it's like 120 degrees in there all day cooking food to stop spittle and breathing crap from landing onto people's food when you're not feeling well, I think people could wear one for 20 minutes while they... let's see, what store is worth mentioning on the stream? When you're shopping at quality food centers, otherwise known as QFC, which the grocery store. You know, if you're at the grocery store for 20 minutes, just wear a mask. It's not a big deal. If you're at Home Depot, wear a mask. It's not a big deal. Just... if you're out around a bunch of people, wear a mask. If you're at the park, don't. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're like going to where people are touching stuff and everything, like me touching my eye right now, just, it's not a big deal. It isn't. I don't know. And I have to admit, I had to go to the store the other day. I absolutely had to go to the store. There wasn't any other option. I wore my mask because, I wear a mask when I'm at work and stuff like that. I don't understand why it's such a big deal to be able to go to Target or AutoZone, you know what I mean, and just wear a mask. Like, it's not a big deal. So I just, don't have to get my spittle spray while I'm breathing or coughing or whatever, like I normally am, around all over the place, Let me see. People saying hi to Aquarium Co-op. Oh, must be Kobe Jack in the chat. There he is, my guy. How you doing, man? Let's see. What else were we talking about? There was another thing. Small Fry Aquatics. I don't know what you were talking about. I was wondering what that was, but I don't know. I was saying that the restaurants are open and stuff like that. Stuff's not open here yet, but it's opening here pretty soon if it's not. But it's starting to get there. Like, I think restaurants can open now at like 25% capacity and stuff like that. To be honest, like, I'm appreciative that the state's taking it pretty seriously, because I literally am battling upper respiratory crap right now. So I can at least relate to be like, oh, yeah, I know that, like, a lot of people are going to miss a lot of work and get sick and stuff. So, so maybe that's why I'm a little more appreciative of it, because I just happen to be continuing to be sick, and I don't even have the coronavirus. Basically, my doctors don't want me, going anywhere until they can really, like, isolate whatever the hell it is that I have, because they don't really know. They thought I had some kind of weird pneumonia, or like a return of the pneumonia from before, but it turns out after a week of heavy antibiotics, that doesn't seem to be the case. So going to try another round of weirdness for this next week, and we'll see what happens. I'm at that. So maybe that's why it's kind of like a little more on my mind than most people, but Let's see. I had a sump refugium in a salt tank, but after starting to watch your videos, it says sharing, but I'm assuming it says starting to watch your videos, it inspired me to build 4 more sumps and drill my tanks. Honestly, I hope to put sumps on all of my bigger tanks. Damn, you put 4 sumps on, and that's not even all of your bigger tanks yet. That's cool, man. Like the thing is, I appreciate having sumps on stuff. I think it's just kind of the best method realistically to go about running tanks these days. I think that's the reality. I think that's the reality is that sumps are just kind of the best method in my opinion. For me though, hang on back might be the best for somebody else out there because it just works for you and it makes you and it's the easiest thing for you to manage. It might just be kind of the best thing, but I appreciate the added water volume and just how much I'm able to do kind of a I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if I'm supposed to call it a refugium or something, but it's like a freshwater refugium down there. So I'm working out some of the kinks to be able to film it and explain everything on how I'm running my sumps now. As I realize every time I start editing certain parts of that video that I have to go back and reshoot stuff because I shot it wrong. It doesn't make any sense. So we'll see how it goes. At some point in time, there'll be like a 45-minute extravaganza of sump nonsense. And maybe I'll break it up into 5-minute videos. Who knows? But I'm still working on that, even though, who knows when that'll ever happen. But someday you guys will get a tour and how to do a bunch of that stuff. Victor Coco says, hope you get better soon. Yeah, me too. I hope I do. It's driving me nuts at this point. Yeah, it's driving me nuts. I can't think of a better way to put it, but it's just driving me nuts at this point. Joel Gillott is saying, do I supplement any D3? And have you had your vitamin D levels tested? No, I haven't had them tested. But I don't think I have vitamin D shortage. So, but I'll look into it, man. I will definitely look into it. Aquarium Co-op says, I'm convinced the sickness is from when we got lost in the back alleys of Germany 2 years ago. It's the long con. It might be. It's probably something from Europe, would be my guess. If I really had to wager, it probably is something to do with traveling around, if I had to guess. But, since I don't really know what's going on, it's sort of a we'll see. And we're sort of playing the roulette of treatments. So we'll see how it goes. Seems like I got the right doctor on the case now for sure. Pulmonologist or something. Who's that? I'm going to look that up. Is it pulmonologist? Doctorate of pulmonary medicine. What do we call that? Pulmonologist. Well, crap. I hate it when I'm right. Pulmonologist, is that what I said before, or did I change? Did I say something else? Maybe I got it right. Oh. Have you ever had shrimp gumbo after the incident in the 5-gallon bucket? Yeah, hell yeah. I eat shrimp all the time, man. Shrimp is my third favorite meat product. Would be Dungeness crab, number 1. Halibut is probably number 2. Shrimp would be number 3. 4 was probably chicken. I think. Something like that. I don't know if I have those things like 100% dialed into my brain and my psyche for the rest of my life or anything like that. I don't think that they're like, it's like a real ironclad, these are my favorite things, but I would say those are my favorite right now. But I love whenever I can find wild shrimp for a reasonable price, not farm shrimp. I try to stay away from farm shrimp because I have been to shrimp farms before, and boy howdy, they're pretty gross, dude. They are pretty gross. Although I did see some really interesting shrimp farming indoors in New York. It was an article with a video too, so it was a pretty cool article video that really kind of highlighted sort of the water quality of this, like kind of a startup company. Now, the reason I say it's startup, I think the guy said they were like 5-6 years into it, and they still considered themselves a startup because they weren't fully in the black as far as like the profitability and that stuff kind of goes. He was on like a 10-year plan to try and get there to doing it fully inside and all that, and it looked like the projections were going to be fine, that he was going to hit that mark and everything was going to be good to go and give him enough time to really work through all the problems and stuff. So definitely interesting, and I thought it was quite cool, but definitely would be a way to go. Alana Suki says, how do you know they are wild or farmed? Do you ask at the restaurant? I generally don't. No, don't ask the restaurant. They'll just lie to you. That's a reality. First of all, the server doesn't know. Second of all, depending on the restaurant that you're at, if they ask somebody in the kitchen, the chef's probably not there. So even if you go to like a really nice restaurant that actually has a chef at it, he's probably not there, or he's too busy and they'll just lie to you. Because in the reality sense of the word, like servers will often just lie to customers because they just don't have time. They don't have time to get you the answer, and they don't go through training to even know the answer. So they'll just tell you whatever platitude makes you feel good, like, oh yeah, that's gluten-free. It's like gluten-free sourdough loaf, you know? Yeah, I wouldn't ask them. And I would rarely order shrimp at a restaurant. It's very rare, but as far as I'm concerned, like personally knowing the ins and outs of restaurants for so many years, the biggest impression that you're going to get is from going into a restaurant. I kind of know what to look for to know that a place is going to be kind of screwed up, but I assume that the food that I'm going to eat at a restaurant is like 100% bad for me. Just because there's so many untrustworthy places out there. I mean, it's like if you go to a Burger King, you're probably technically being poisoned. If you're going to whatever fancy restaurant you want to name it, whatever, you're probably all right. But like if you go to Chili's, you're definitely getting poisoned. Like I mean that's the reality. Like even if there's no biological problems with the even if there's no like bacteria or foodborne illness, salmonella for instance, or any of that kind of stuff on the food, the actual food itself is probably poisoning you. I don't know if you've ever been to some of the restaurants out there where they're required to put the calorie count onto food nowadays, and you would be at like whatever restaurant, let's say, just making it up here, Red Robin or something, and you would look and go like, oh wow, there's a chicken salad here. I bet the chicken salad's probably pretty normal, right? And then you look at the calorie breakdown on it, and it's 2,800 calories. What? Like Applebee's menu reads that same way, where you're like, I believe I will have this dinner, and you're like, 5,000 calories? What? How? Like that food product is not supposed to have this much calorie in it, which is definitely a sign that you're being poisoned. You're being poisoned by highly, highly processed food. Is it okay to eat that every once in a while? Sure, but let's not try to trick ourselves into some kind of sense false sense of security. Alana Suki says at Red Robin the calories for salads are more than the burgers. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, right? Like that's nuts. So I just assume I'm going to be poisoned, and I roll with it that way. Rob the Butcher's here. What's up, my guy? Says nothing but love for you and Rupert and the Peanut. Miss these streams, man. Hey, man, you just gotta watch them whenever, man. You can always watch the replay and just chuckle to yourself, my guy. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. It's good to have a little extra moderator here on a Friday. You never know when people start getting all feisty up in the chat and start saying some crazy stuff, and then they have to be moderated. So it's good to have another moderator here, my guy, and much appreciated. Mary Paige Flynn with a $5 super chat says, I just got a 33-gallon lowboy tank that has a UG filter, under gravel filter, to those of you out there. Was going to take it out, and then I saw a reverse flow UG filter. Any experience? I have not had experience with the reverse flow under gravel filter. What does that mean? Like, the mechanics of that don't make any sense to me. Under gravel filters are fine. Like, I just personally don't enjoy them myself. I've always argued with people about under gravel filters, about how they're not good or whatever. I just don't care. They're fine. It's going to work. As long as you run it properly and just take care of your tank, everything will be fine. I mean, that's the reality. All these little gadgets and gizmos and crap that we buy and stuff like that, it really boils down to if you have some decent husbandry with your aquarium, and that means if you're taking care of it, you're feeding it, you're doing water changes, you're observing what's happening, you're testing the water, it's going to be fine. Take care of it, and it'll be fine. And that's the best advice that I could give you, and to anybody. Test your water, feed properly, water changes, pay attention, observe, know what's going on with your tank. Do your best to research things if ahead of time, and then if something goes wrong, you at least have an inclination of like, we have a fungus. What do? We don't call a pulmonologist, right? We start out with a water change and we test our water, we test our source water, and we do a quick water change to find out what's going on, and then go from there. Excuse me while I cough. Pretty close to the microphone. I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to do that. Try to make up for it by saying I'm sorry. Sorry. Let's see. You put a power head on it and pump like a trickle of water underneath the substrate instead of air. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried that. That sounds wild. Mary Page says, or that's what I saw in a video. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried that. Maybe it works. Maybe it works super good. I don't know. But, yeah. I don't know. I personally wouldn't, because if you had something like simple like a sponge filter, you can take it out, you can maintain it, do the maintenance on it. I think one of the biggest problems with the under gravel filter, as far as I'm concerned, it's like, what are you going to do? Take all the substrate out and everything out to like kind of maintenance whatever the hell's going on down there? I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's not. Maybe the plants will uptake everything. I don't know. But I don't want to do that maintenance. Just throw a sponge filter in there. You'll be fine. Pay attention to what's going on. I don't think we'll be good. But let me know. Check it out. Let me know if it's rad. And then maybe I'll test it out someday. But I'm going to be honest with you. The way I'm feeling today and the sleepy, like, tired factor I got going on, I am not feeling like I'm excited to get started on that project. That's just me being honest. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I just don't know if like I have the gumption to try it, you know? I'm just like, I guess maybe I'll try it someday, but you know, what? Huh? What happened? Under gravel filter going backwards? I don't know. Maybe it works super good, but I just personally don't know. Alyssa says she's never used a reverse gravel under gravel filter like that, but I have weird things in my imagination as a result. It sounds like one of those mad scientist adventure times. It does, but right now my mad scientist adventures involve coloring epoxy, like tinting 2-part epoxy to make my own rocks. That's the best way I can describe it. That's what kind of the thing I'm working on right now. But though, luckily, I will tell you guys this, I finally got filters for my respirator, so I don't have to worry about that. You know, like, finally they have been released by Amazon, even though they cost 3 or 4 times the price that they were supposed to cost, historically speaking. Although I'd have to look that up. Maybe it was only double. Maybe it was only twice the price. But I feel like it was 3 times the price, because I think it was like $35 for a pair of filters, when I think before they were like, yeah, maybe it's double. Because I was going to say I feel like they were 12, but I don't think the chemical ones were 12. So maybe the chemical ones were like 18. I don't know. They're more expensive. Amazon sucks, but they're sort of a sponsor, so buy stuff through Amazon, I guess. I don't know. They're not really a sponsor. They're not like aggressively a sponsor. We just have an affiliate with them. So if you buy stuff through there, we get like 1% commission now. Used to be better, but now they cut all the commissions. So, you know, it's like sort of how they pay their workers minimum wage to do a bunch of crazy stuff. Like have to pee in water bottles because they can't even take bathroom breaks. But it sounds like they're going to replace everybody with robots anyhow. So that's cool, right? Because robots are cool. Because I've seen them in a movie. Alyssa says, yes, exactly what we did back in the early 80s. Take all the substrate out, wash it in a colander with soap, rinse the whole tank, and wipe it down with Windex. Yeah, I talked about that on, I think Monday's show or maybe Friday's show. I'm not sure. But yeah, when I had fish tanks in the 80s, we would take everything out, like scrub out the tank, bleach the tank, like put the substrate in with like bleach and stuff, take the plastic plants out and bleach them, put them back in the tank. And I'll tell you, I wonder why the fish didn't survive very long. I don't know. Maybe because there was no nitrogen cycle going on in the tank, so ammonia probably just skyrocketed out of control and killed the fish. Yeah, and the 80s sucked. All we had was like VHS tapes, like the Walkman came out, and people thought that was rad. 8-bit graphics. Although I will admit, I still enjoy 8-bit graphics, but that's because I'm 40 years old. What am I supposed to do when I'm 40? See things in high definition? What am I supposed to be excited for 8K video? I can't even see that good. Just make something boxy and squares, and I'll be able to figure out the squares with my brain parts, and I'll go on a vision quest in my mind and imagine how awesome the story is that somebody is telling me with the terrible graphics of these little cube shapes running around on the screen. And yeah, it's the year 2020. Betamax from Jeep House. Good point. They did have Betamax. We also had Laserdisc, which is like record size CDs that you couldn't even play a whole video on them. You had to flip them over, or you had to get like the next one. Did you have to flip over a Laserdisc? I can't remember. I think you did. I think you had to like watch half a movie and then flip the Laserdisc over. I don't even think I have like a CD or a DVD. I don't think I'm the owner of that anymore. Oh, yeah, that's right. I gave all my Blu-rays and DVDs away. I had a whole bunch of them because I'm a real like movie file of watching movies and films before I go to bed. Like I'll watch like a TV show or like a half of a movie or maybe even a whole movie. You know, I'll probably stay up late and get up early because I'm crazy. But, you know, I had a whole bunch. Had a whole bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. Maybe not a lot of Blu-rays, but a lot of DVDs, that is for sure. Because what I used to do is I used to go to work at, I'd head down at 2 o'clock. I started at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'd work all of the prep for dinner and then run the whole dinner rush all the way up until 10 o'clock. Then I would go over to my other job, and I would work like, you know, whatever. Maybe I got done at like 9:30, and I would go over to my other job at like 10. Or maybe I got off at 10 and I'd go to my other job and like be there by 10:30, whatever. Then I'd work till like 7 in the morning at that job, cooking all night. And then I would walk home from that job because I was a severe alcoholic. You gotta remember, I was a severe alcoholic at the time. And the bars in Washington State opened up at 6 a.m., right? So I would go to those bars on the way home. I would walk home. It's like 5 miles, maybe 5 miles, something like that. But I would stop at all the morning bars on the way home, and I would stop at Fred Meyer, which Fred Meyer's is like it's like a big grocery store, but it also has like housewares and all that kind of stuff in it. And they always had like a cheap DVD aisle, right? So I'd go in there and I'd buy like, you know, 2 or 3 DVDs for like, you know, $20. And then I would have these movies, and I collected them at home. I had this big giant pile. I had like shelves and shelves of them because I would just basically buy a movie that was like, oh man, I haven't seen Citizen Kane in a long, long time. I'll buy that. It's $6. Oh, cool. You know, and I would do that. And I don't know why I would talk in that weird voice because it's not really how I talk, but maybe I did back then. Who knows? Anyhow, and so I accumulated all those, and then, I ended up giving those all away because it is the year 2020. Joel G says, I'd love to travel back in time and meet young, drunk, 6 a.m. Corvus. I will tell you this much. If you're going to become a severe alcoholic and that's how you want to run your life, you should definitely get a graveyard job, because you're going to be wide awake in the morning, and you're going to be able to do what's called, air quote, day drinking. And no one knows how to deal with anybody who's been drinking at 7 in the morning. They just don't. You know, you go to the drugstore because you need to pick up some toothpaste or whatever, and then you got to stop by the Fred Meyers and buy DVDs. Like, nobody knows how to deal with somebody at 10 a.m. that's like drunk. You know, they just don't. They have no idea. Like, humans just don't know how to deal with those humans. They're like, I don't know. It's 9 a.m. I don't know how to deal with you. And the people just pretty much leave you alone. It's a very isolationist type of way of living. Big D Smoke says, after I had kidney failure and got out of the hospital, I was still on the renal diet, so I had to watch my sodium. Damn, it was so easy for me to lose weight staying under 1,000 milligrams of sodium a day. That is a good point. That is a very good point. Watching your diet will help you lose weight. If you have some kind of metric to hit, it will definitely help you lose weight because you're really paying attention. And paying attention is really the important thing as far as I'm concerned. What I've noticed with anybody that's like trying to lose weight or whatnot, or try to get into better shape or something like that, like just paying attention to your diet, like really like having a thing to look into with your diet is kind of the big thing. And, you know, I was talking about restaurants earlier, like I just really don't eat at them very much anymore. So it's actually fairly easy for me to watch my diet, even though I have been making myself cookies and stuff and eating a lot of cookies over the last pandemic period here. It's pretty easy to just be like, what am I having for dinner? Rice, chicken, and a bunch of vegetables. It's like, okay, I know what all of these items are. It's hard to like fake a piece of broccoli. You know what I mean? Like you can't really gussy up broccoli to a point where it's not going to be that good for you unless you uh, bury it in Alfredo sauce or cheese. You know what I mean? So I just try to stick with the I know what the identifiable food is, and to tie back in with the shrimp that I was talking about earlier. You know, we buy our shrimp for human consumption. We buy them in like the 20 pound. I think they're 20. No, I think they're 10 pound. Sorry, they're the 10 pound at a time. These like flat pack boxes, so you kind of know what it is, like what. And I personally can identify what most of the companies are, so I can even just kind of like yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes kind of thing, because I've purchased a lot of stuff and food things, so it's kind of easier for me to do that. But it just takes 5 minutes longer shopping just to make sure like where things are being sourced. And also nowadays, you talk about meat and stuff like that. Got to pay attention to whether or not it's been shipped overseas to be butchered and packaged and then shipped back. Like, how crazy is that we do that? It's nuts. J-Dog says, I air fry the broccoli and drench it in hot sauce. Yeah, that's fine. That's not going to bastardize it that much. You're just heating it up in the air fryer, right? Well, unless you bread it and all that kind of stuff. And the hot sauce should be pretty reasonable. It's mostly vinegar and chili and whatnot, so that should be fine. But who knows? Big D Smoke says, couldn't eat processed food. That's the one that's rough, People, you just stay away from eating processed food, and you'll be doing a lot better, If the identifier is this a processed food or not, will totally help out people. Jessica Taylor had a trainer once tell me that as long as you made the junk food from scratch, it was okay-ish to eat. Yeah, I forget. There's a doctor that came up with that. I would have to look it up to find out who that was. But there's a doctor that came up with that was like, you can eat whatever you want, as long as you make it from scratch yourself. So he was like, yeah, you could eat donuts every day, but you got to make them. And I'd be like, I'm driving over to Legendary Donut. Those guys just make them, and it costs like $7. So, yeah, what are you going to do? Sometimes you got to have some donuts and stuff. So I live by that sort of standard. Shrimpy McShrimperton Rupert. Man, I really wanted to talk about Rupert today, but you know how it is, guys. Rupert's a shrimp. He's on the shirt. He's my favorite Caridina. I wasn't really sure. I had this whole thing I was going to talk about with how much I like crystal shrimp and Caridina shrimp and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I would have been, on second thought now, I feel like I would have been really repeating myself again from a bunch of other live streams I've done. But you know how it is. G Powell says, I got a bamboo scratcher that's shaped like a hand. It's a pretty good back scratcher, but mine has multiple use because, I can get back here and I can scratch my back with it because there's something going on back here. Maybe there's a tag or something in my shirt. And also I can level things. This is a torpedo level brought to you by the company Empire. And it has a magnet on it, which is just, can you imagine how handy that is to be able to level things and scratch your back? That's good. Joel T, does that include using shortening? Yeah, you actually have to render your own shortening down, I think. But that was something that I was talking to with somebody a while ago. It's really easy to lose your perspective on the fact that we do live in a world community where we generally, when we air quote make something from scratch, we didn't grow the wheat, we didn't grind up the flour, we didn't actually make this stuff from scratch. We're still a part of a bigger community that wants to keep moving forward, right, in the world. And that's something that I often think about. It's like if I pick up something like this level, right? and these markers, right? I didn't make these, but I can make stuff and then with these, and then people will be like, whoa, you totally made stuff. But I'm like, yeah, but if I didn't have a level and straight edges and markers and stuff like that, I wouldn't even have been able to make the thing that I made, you know what I mean? So definitely always try to remind people of stuff like that. And maybe it makes it a little bit easier for you to, just kind of see the world as a whole, as opposed to the fragmented view that we have of things these days. I think, Oh, we got Rob 93. What's up, my guy? How you doing? I don't know. Am I caught up? Let me see. I'm going to scroll way up to the top and see what happened. Most restaurants provide mostly synthetic chemicals for flavor. You are correct, Victor. I mean, if you... I think if people legitimately saw how much science went into just tricking you into continually eating food, you'd lose your mind. I think you would lose your damn mind. All right, I'm not seeing anything that sparks. Got to talk about something. I don't see anything that's doing that for me. Donald's Fish Vibe says, Joel, a couple of runs may get you back up and about. It's a wonder what some exercise does to the body. I'm doing my best to exercise, but not. I haven't been going out running. I'm not a huge just like runner running around. I do a little bit of like jogging, but I really like just the brisk walk. I've been kind of avoiding those just because it's been kind of exacerbating like what I got going on, and I don't really know what's going on. So I've been just doing my weightlifting stuff. So I've just been lifting, and no, there's nothing fancy about it. I don't do any super bro weightlifting. I literally have two 25-pounders that are basically, I just use them like kettlebells, so I do that for about 15 minutes at a time, throughout the day. Generally try to do it like 3 times a day, 4 times a day, depending on what's going on. But yeah. So I haven't been going on runs because the pollen count's been really high, so that seems to have been exacerbating some things. But also, it's not allergies, because I stopped. I was doing the allergy medicine for a while, and then I stopped doing the allergy medicine, and it was no change. So we've been trying things, and like I said, I changed doctors, and hopefully we'll get it sorted out now, but we'll see what happens. Small Fry Aquatics, how much additional lift does a Patreon account take on your part? I don't know. I still don't know what that means. I'm going to see if Small Fry Aquatics ever followed that up with like some kind of clarification. Gonna keep scrolling, and I didn't see him post anything else, so maybe they left. I don't know. Victor says, Joel, it's Father's Day for you soon this month. Congratulations. How's the family doing? The family is stressed out, and we shall see. The family's stressed out. There's a pandemic going on. When is Father's Day? What is that? It's not the 7th. It's not the 14th. The 21st. I feel like I should have known that. I feel like I should have known that it was June 21. I guess somebody else's birthday's coming up. Whose birthday's coming up? Somebody's birthday's coming up. Whose is that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But June 21 is Father's Day in the United States. Yeah. The family's stressed out. Olivia is beautiful. And we're trying to figure out how to minimize the stress that we're under at this point. Are you able to keep Caridina and Caridina together? If so, is it easy to Or what are some challenges in keeping them together? No reason to keep them together. One of them will not breed is the simple answer. So yes, Neocaridina will kind of adapt to that really soft water parameter and live in there. They will live in there. That's what they just won't breed. I mean, they might breed a little bit, but the basic thing is, if you were to put crystal shrimp, so Caridinas, in a tank for Neos, sort of set to the Neocaridina water parameters, typically the crystal shrimp will slowly but surely dwindle away. The Caridinas will just eventually just kind of disappear from the tank. That's the best way I could explain what'll happen. They won't breed. Now, if you go the other direction, so let's say you have a low pH setup for the Caridinas, and you put the Neos in there, they'll be in there, they'll be living, and the Neos will be fine, generally speaking. They just won't breed, or very rarely will they ever breed. So they'll eventually dwindle away. That's kind of the best way to put it. You can do it. It's something you can, but there's really just no point. There's no point in investing the money in both of them and then try to put them into one situation. Pick one. If you only have one tank, which is totally plausible, it's totally possible, and it's something that everybody at some point in time will probably encounter, is only having one tank. Just pick one and focus on the one. It will be way more enjoyable for you. It'll be more enjoyable for the shrimp, and you'll just have a better time with it. So that's what I would do. Is either way, if you put either shrimp into the other shrimp's water, they'll just eventually whittle away, and you'll end up with one kind anyhow. Eventually. Danielle Velez says, "Do I drill my tanks?" Hell yeah, I drill my tanks. Of course, I drill my tanks. Why not? I've been doing it for years and years and years. Started doing it. God, like 2007, 2008 maybe, because the glass shops or the aquarium shops charge about $40 to $50 a hole drilled, and I was like, I'm not paying like $200 to drill some holes in a tank that costs $50. Screw that. I'm gonna learn how to do it, and even if I broke a bunch of tanks, I still would have been ahead. You know what I'm saying? I still would have been ahead cash-wise. Let's say I needed 4 tanks or 4 holes in a tank, and that was going to cost, on the low end, $160, right? They're $40 a hole. And the tanks at the time, maybe they cost $40. And I broke 3 of them. And I got the last one. It would have still been the same amount of money. See what I'm saying? So it was just strictly a money thing. I didn't want to spend money on it. And so I learned how to do it. It's the same reason most of the things I learned how to do is that I don't want to spend money on it. So I end up learning how to do it myself. Because the last thing I want to do is spend, $16,000 rewiring my house when, I could do it for significantly less than that and get it inspected after the fact and get the same sticker. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to spend $20,000 on concrete work. I just don't. But yeah, I drill my own tanks. I have some old. If you look up drilling glass tanks, you can check it out. It's pretty easy. Yeah. He says, I have a tank that my wife gifted me 25 years ago, and I'm concerned about damaging it. If the tank is 25 years old, you're probably going to have to reseal it anyhow. Let me find the diamond glass drill bits. Where is a brand that I have used? What do we got here? Oh, we don't want those. Nope, we don't want that. Raw, that's not a good brand. We want to make sure that I want to make sure that I pass on to you a good brand. Those ones bend. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's a bunch of glass drill bits. Is freaking $13 over here. So lots of water. These drill bits, depending on whatever size you need, like figure it out. Buy the drill bit that's the right size. Go to my Amazon store. The bulkheads, all that kind of stuff are in my Amazon store, so you can just click through there and do all that stuff. But here's a link to an Amazon affiliate link, which, by the way, will give us a kickback of like 1%. So if you do the math on that, it's about, what's that? 1% of $13. Does anybody know what what's the maths on that? 13 cents, bro. We're gonna rich. Be a baller out here. You guys buy 100 million drill bits, then yeah. So heads up, 7-Up. FTC regulation says I have to tell you. So I did. Deal with it. They didn't say I have to tell you about the percentage, but it was a big story just a little while ago. That came out. People wrote articles about it and stuff. Jeep House is wondering, do I consider myself an aquascaper? If yes, have you ever entered any competitions? I don't know if I consider myself an aquascaper. I don't know. I've done a ton of aquascaping. I've done lots of tanks. I guess I haven't entered any of the competitions because I don't know. I just don't care about competitions. I don't know. Maybe I'll enter some competitions someday. I like making YouTube videos about the stuff that I make, I guess. I don't know. This feels like a competition already. Being on YouTube feels pretty competitive, so do I really need to enter other competitions and waste my time doing that? Just so I can get, 400th in the ILA PC or whatever the hell. Is that the right? Did I get the acronym correct? I think, I'm going to be honest with you guys. The times that I thought that I would have entered many years ago, the realistic thought process that I had was like, man, it would be rad to enter those contests because it would be cool to get some recognition. And let's say that I may or may not have known some people that were involved in the judging. And the first thing was there was a lot of controversy that if I entered something at that point in time, back then, many years ago, it's not this way now. There's a real doubt that a super English name would have gotten number one, right? Which I'm pretty sure my name kind of gives people an inclination that this guy might not be of a certain country origin, right? Does that make sense? So I was like, man, I don't really want to be in a competition that's sort of, there's a barrier from even winning, which kind of sucks. And at the time, the prize was not enough to fly out and go get the prize. So if you were to win first place, it's like to fly out and get the prize at the award ceremony or whatever would have cost more than the number one prize. Does that make sense? So if the top prize was converted to $1,500 US, it would have cost $4,000 to go. I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but it was it's going to cost a ton of money to go get that award. Like, let's say I had won that award, I would have had to pay to go get it. A lot of money that I couldn't afford it at the time. I couldn't afford it now. So, you know. Oh, there's Pete Berlinski. What's up, my guy? How you doing? Good to see you. Jeep House followed up with the AGA, the Aquatic Gardeners Association. Yeah, I've been to the Aquatic Gardeners Association convention this last time. It was in Seattle, so actually it's real close to me, so I went to it. I just really enjoy doing Planet Aquariums. And like I said, doing YouTube and stuff is enough of a competition in its own right, so I don't feel like competing with anybody. To be really honest with you guys, like, I'm middle-aged. What the hell am I going to do, like, win something? I don't know. I feel like I'm competing with myself to get better at what I do. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to win. That's also, like, probably way too deep of a thought for a Friday. But we're out here just balls deep in a pandemic and protests, and we're in a depression. We have the 40 million unemployed people. It's nuts. So maybe that's where I'm at right now. But I literally am in what I consider to be a competition with myself. So I don't know if there ever is a winning, because every day I try to learn something. Then all of a sudden I'm like, I can apply that against what I had done the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before, whatever. And I've already defeated my own work, So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Pete Berlinski says, my live stream is not working. Has it finished? Well, that is weird. We still have an excellent connection, and I'm still connected properly. So I'm not sure what's going on. But to get the signal all the way to Australia, you just never know what could be going on in between from here's to theirs. J-Dog 67. The J-Dog 67. The J-Dog 67. New to using frozen Daphnia and bloodworms. Any tips on how much to feed? I have a beta, a blue gourami, 6 panda cories, 6 pepper cories, 1 neon tetra, and 2 hillstream loaches in a heavily planted tank. You have frozen, so I would take 1 cube, split it up, however you want to do that. What I used to do is I would keep a little shot glass, I think I have an aquarium co-op one somewhere. Maybe I don't. Maybe I thought I had one. Well, maybe I've never had one. I thought I had one around here. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Maybe I've just seen them so many times I expected there to be one around. I don't know why I would have expected that if that's not the case, but I thought I had. Whatever. Get a tiny little shot glass. If you know what those shot glasses are, you can get ones that don't have anything to do with drinking or anything. They're just little measuring glasses. Keep one of those on top of the tank that it goes in. So I don't use it on any of the other tanks. I just leave it on the top of each tank where it's going to go. Coordinate them however you want. It doesn't matter to me. But I scoop up a little tank water, put the frozen cube into the tank water, and just leave it up there for 2 to 3 minutes. It'll thaw out because tank water is pretty warm. It's normally like 72 degrees. It'll thaw out, and then everything will be loose floating around in there. So then it go doot, doot, doot. Add a little bit in there. See if everybody eats it within the next couple of minutes, and typically that is all the feeding that they really need. Most fish need a lot less food than we think. Even people that are conservative with feeding, realistically, are probably feeding too much more often than not. So See what that happens there. If you dump that in and it's gone in 30 seconds, then I'd probably do another one, but it's kind of an eyeball, get a feel for it. If you have leftover food and stuff all over the place, then that means you're feeding way too much. But personally, what I would do is just cut one in half with like a super junky kitchen knife. Then I would thaw that, feed that, and then go from there. And then you can pretty much add up like, oh, it was 1.5, or oh, it was only half, and you can kind of figure it out. Prouse, I've learned a ton from your videos, bro. Thank you for all your work and sharing your passion. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Pete has got the stream working. Well, let's say what's up to Pete one more time, because was it Alyssa that was asking? Do you have all the rugby rivalries? And Joel says yes, and cricket. I don't imagine how anybody could even be competitive with cricket. Like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. You get a sticky wicket and a I don't know, some other weird nonsense. I don't know. I literally have kind of an idea of how cricket is supposed to work, but who knows? I feel like just hit a home run every time, like just do that. And then people that are actual fans of cricket are like, you're a stupid American. And I'm like, I happen to be both of those things, but it's not because of this not knowing cricket. Right? It's literally a whole bunch of other things, like farting in public. I did that once, and I will forever be a stupid American for it. But I digress. I always get a kick when someone tries to correct me for saying football, like, yeah, I know it's only football in the U.S., but we both live in the U.S., I mean, you could say American football, and then people would know specifically what you're talking about. I grew up playing soccer and all that stuff. I played all that stuff, you guys, all of it. I mean, I know how to play American football. I know how to play football. I know how to play baseball. I'm only good at a couple of them. I'm not good at basketball. I mean, I'm good enough to shoot around and kind of screw around with people, but not play. I'm not going to be playing. The only thing I know about cricket I learned from the Hitchhiker's Guide. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. All right, guys. We are at 4:30. We've hit the 90-minute mark. So now is the time I give a couple shout-outs to a couple people that so generously came through to sponsor today's show. Wherever that freaking button is. It's around here somewhere. I have to find it. Oh, there it is. God, it was like hiding. It was hiding over there in plain English, and I didn't know how to read it. The big problem is that it said viewer activity, which realistically, let's be a little bit honest here for a second. That's a strange thing to put on that button. Nevertheless, Brian Schiller was our new member of the day. We only had one new member today, and that was Brian Schiller. So let's go double check our memberships button over here. Thank you. But special thanks to Brian for being our one member of the day here on a Friday. And Mary Page Flynn for a $5 super chat, and Joel Gillett for a $2 New Zealand super chat. Y'all made this possible because now we don't get demonetized for the day, because it doesn't matter. I bet you this live stream will get demonetized anyhow, because I probably said something in here like deodorant or farting in public that will probably, trigger the YouTube algorithm to tell me to tell you guys to like the stream or whatever. You hit the like button on the way out. I guess that's paramountly important or whatever. But this will end up being, let me check and make sure that this goes to unlisted. Oh, this one's not going to unlisted. I'm going to leave this one up and see what people say. I'm going to get a lot of people get mad at me, I'm sure. But I don't really care about the haters because there's so many nice, cool, bright, and shiny people here that are nice anyhow. So it doesn't really matter. Right? Right. But I digress. I must go because I must start dinner because it's Friday, and that's part of my thing I got to do on Fridays. And a lot of the other days. Bye-bye. I think bye-bye is the word. I think that's what I go with. I think I go with bye-bye now. Bye-bye.